welcome to the October Garden Calendar. We have quite a program in store for you today. We're going to cover several different gardening chores for the month of October. We'll harvest some sweet potatoes, talk about some things to plant in the garden. We'll also look at planting bulbs, spring flowering bulbs in the fall for the yard, or forcing them for indoor use in the wintertime. Also talk about planting trees and shrubs in the month of October. Okay, well, here in the month of October, there are still some flowers in bloom. There's asters, some goldenrods, mums, but then there's a lot of colorful berries that are in bloom this month. One of my favorite berries in the month of October is the American Beauty Berry, which is behind me. It's a gorgeous purple berry all over the plant. Also, a lot of some plants that have some other berries that are pretty in October are some of the hollies, Nandina, pyracantha, Washington hawthorn, and others. So still some beautiful sights out there in the month of October for your eye to behold. Well, as far as the garden goes in the month of October, still a few things out there in the garden that you need to harvest or pick before frost comes. Once frost comes, about everything will be killed back here. Still got some peppers coming on, some sweet potatoes, some herbs, a few things like that. So go out there. Your sweet potatoes do need to be dug before first frost. It's best for them for you to do that then. Also, here we are in the month of October. You can still plant a few things. Some of the colder crops, kale, Swiss chard, maybe cabbage, onions, garlic. A few of those colder season crops can still be planted early in October. So we can do that. And and if you've got an irrigation system like I do here in my raised bed, I'll pull it up and take it inside. So do all the preparations for winter. So it's a good time to do that. So we're going to go ahead and watch me pull some of the vines up on one of these hills of sweet potatoes and dig some of those. Well, also, October is the month for planting bulbs. If you want to have some spring blooming bulbs, you can buy things such as hyacinths, tulips, crocuses, daffodils. All of those really need to be planted in the month of October. So get out there. You can use a bulb planting tool like that and plant them in your yard. Also, something a lot of people do not think of is forcing bulbs, and you usually have those kind of drab months of winter in January and February where you don't have much color after the holidays. So you can force bulbs, which is by planting them in some of your unused pots with just regular potting soil. You can just plant them. There are some guidelines on how far to space them or how many to put in a certain size container. Just contact us at the extension office. We'll get you a little publication on that. But you can usually get about 3 hyacinths in a pot about that size, and put them slightly below the surface of the soil, water them good, and then put them under your house, basically in a cool place with low light, and they will just the roots will grow. They'll establish a good rooting system in the pots. Roughly 12 weeks they need to be dormant, and then you can bring them out of that cool spot into your house in January, and then the shoots will start to grow. After about 2 weeks, you will get your flowers. So you'll have some good color in the house in the months of January and February. So that's something I always do. I always force some bulbs. Have good success with tulips, hyacinths, and crocus do okay. So those are the ones I usually do. So I'm going to plant a few hyacinths here in the pot, but you can do crocus, tulips, and several other bulbs. So it's easy. Just plant them, water them good, stick them under the house. once your bulbs that you're forcing are potted up, all you do is water them and then just stick them under your house. Another chore for the month of October is to dig up some of your summer flowering bulbs that quite often will not last our winter. Some of those might be things like caladium, dahlia, canna, gladiolus, and some of the elephant ears. So the month of October, get out there, dig up those tubers or divisions and store them. I usually put them in a bag of dry sawdust or dry peat or something like that and just store them under the house over the winter. So get those dug up this month as well. Well, the month of October is really the prime or ideal month of the year to plant containerized plants, trees, perennials, vines. This is a trumpet vine that I've had a small start, but I've got it going pretty well in a pot over the summer. I think we've got a crepe myrtle and a dawn redwood. So anything like that, or any perennials that you have as well, October is a great month to dig the correct hole. Be sure to always plant them at the normal level, if not just a little higher, because they will sink, but do not plant them below soil level. But in the month of October, there's not much evaporation going on. There's usually plenty of rainfall and moisture in the soil, so get them planted all winter long. The roots will do some growing, and they'll be ready to get a full season's growth next year. So October, best month of the year to plant trees, shrubs, perennials, vines, that type of thing. Well, have you ever wondered how an apple got from the tree into those bags of apples you carry home? Well, we're going to see if some of the deals here at Deal's Apple Orchards can tell us how that happens. Here we are at Deal Orchards, and we're here with Alan Deal, one of the owners, and Alan is going to show us where the apple starts its journey, where it leaves the tree, and how it's picked and how it gets to the apple house.
Well, we're in a block of some red Romes. These are just about ready to be harvested, so whenever it's time to move into an orchard and harvest the fruit, the folks will take a picking sack like this. We'll move into the orchard, gently pick the fruit and place it in the picking bag. And then whenever this picking bag is full, it has a latch right here, a latch mechanism that can be opened. And then the entire bottom will release out, and we will ease these into these large wooden bins that we can use on our packing line. And basically it's just a very hands-on process to get everything harvested.
Okay, thanks. Now we'll move into the packing house and see what happens to the bins once they reach the packing house. Well, here we are inside the packing house with Alan Deal, one of the owners of Deal's Orchards. And we're going to show you now what happens when the bin of apples gets to the apple house. So Alan, tell us a little bit about what's behind us here.
Okay. Well, this is our apple packing line. All of our fruit is harvested in these large wooden containers, like you can see up here on top of the dump tank. Well, this holds about 1,000 gallons of water, and we put a mild sanitizer in this water. This bin will actually, if it was full of apples, would actually be submerged, and the apples float out, because all apples float. So whenever they float out, then they are gently pushed forward by a flume of water. They're brought up an escalator. All the leaves and everything are removed from the wash line, and then they come out onto a long conveyor belt. They move down this direction. They move down this direction until we get to our first sizing chain. The very small apples drop out so that we don't have to wash and deal with those. They go up another little incline and then work their way into our washing area of the packing line. They're sprayed with clean water and washed, given a final rinse, and then they're dried in this particular area. As they come on around to this part of the grader, we will have people that actually sit and actually physically inspect all the fruit as it goes down the line. Any of the bad apples are taken out at that time. You know, rotten specks, just blemishes, things that are off color are all taken out in this area. Have a little area here for some of the small ones some of the blemished fruit to work its way out. As we have some boxes and things in the way, unfortunately, but as the fruit makes its way to the end of the line, it goes on to an area that's called a weight sizer. And on this weight sizer, the fruit are placed into individual plastic cups. Each apple travels individually down the line in its own plastic cup, and the weight of the apple actually causes the fruit to drop out at specific locations. So we can have larger fruits separated from smaller fruit if we'd like, or we can mix them all together if we'd like. And that's pretty much everything in a nutshell as far as the apples are concerned when they're graded.
Okay, well, here we are in the cooler, and Alan, I don't know what temperature, but it's awful cold. What temperature do you keep it in here?
We try to keep it as close to 32 as we can.
Wow. So we see some bins of apples and also some pallets of packed apples. Tell us how and why you store apples here, how long, what varieties. Just give us some info there.
Okay. Well, this is just a common cooler, and so it's basically a large version of your refrigerator at home. And whenever we harvest our fruit, we bring it in and stack it as high as we possibly can to maximize our space. We can normally store apples, depending on variety, for anywhere from 2 or 3 months on a short kept variety to something like a Pink Lady, which we could store reasonably well for maybe 9 months or even 10 months. Most apples don't store quite that long, but the cold temperature and high humidity is really what you need to be able to keep fruit for any length of time after it's harvested and before you get it sold. This particular cooler would hold about 9,000 bushels, roughly around 500 of these large bins if we had it full, and does a pretty good job.
And what varieties do you sell mostly here, or do you pack out and sell retail?
Our main varieties, we start out with Ginger Gold and Gala in the early season. And then that moves on through the Red and Golden Delicious. A little bit later in the season, we'll get into Jonna Gold, maybe a few old varieties like Stamen Winesap. Pink Ladies sort of round out the season. Around early November, we'll start harvesting those.
Well, and I know we've seen an area of their retail shed, and they sell a lot of different things, juice and all kinds of stuff. So quite an operation here, and I know you sell to Whole Foods and some other places of that nature, don't you, as far as?
We do sell to a few chain stores, as well as some smaller operations, and then our roadside as well.
Well, thanks for having us, and come out and buy some fresh apples here at Deals. They're still going to be picking on in pretty much through November, won't you?
Almost until the snow starts.
That's right. Okay. Well, thanks a bunch, Alan.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed our October garden calendar. It's always a lot of fun to put these together, and we've had some good times filming a lot of interesting things that are going on in the month of October in Alexander County. So if you have any questions about things that are covered, or need some info on gardening chores or anything we've covered, give us a call at the Alexander Extension Center at 632-4451, or come see us. We're located beside the health department, the Alexander County Health Department, in the back parking lot of First Baptist Church. So come visit us, or also we're listed online at alexanderextension.com.